On February 28, 2026, Israel and the United States launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran. The operation was dubbed Epic Fury. The targets: military facilities, nuclear sites, leadership institutions. Among the dead, Iran 86-year-old Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. What followed? Retaliation strikes. Iran launches a salvo of missiles towards Israel, United States military bases, and their embassies in the neighboring Gulf countries. The entire region of West Asia is plunged into chaos. Thousands of kilometers away, Kenya's President William Ruto issues a statement on X platform. He seems to pick a side and calls for de-escalation. Israeli and Iranian ambassadors in Kenya issue statements in support of their country's reason to fight. Even though the Iranian ambassador assures Kenyans that they will not be dragged into the war, Kenya has had a long history of being aligned with America and its allies. If Iran decides to strike American or allied assets globally, can Kenya become a legitimate target for Iran? If attacked, can Kenya be able to defend herself against a salvo of missiles? This is the uncomfortable truth about Kenya's military preparedness. You might think you know, but today, in modern geopolitical conflicts, nations are not only judged by their geography, but also by their alliances, infrastructure, and diplomatic presence. And in several key ways, Kenya is deeply connected to the Western security architecture. In the capital city of Nairobi, Kenya hosts some of the most significant diplomatic missions in East Africa. Among them are the United States Embassy Nairobi and the Embassy of Israel in Nairobi. These embassies represent two of Iran's most prominent geopolitical adversaries. Historically, diplomatic missions have often been symbolic targets during periods of geopolitical tension. Embassies represent more than just administrative offices. They serve as political symbols of national power, intelligence gathering centers, and coordination hubs for foreign policy. Kenya's capital already carries the painful memory of how international rivalries can spill onto its soil. In 1998, the Al-Qaeda carried out the embassy bombings, destroying the US Embassy in Nairobi and killing more than 200 people. That attack demonstrated a sobering reality. When a country hosts major diplomatic missions of powerful nations, it can sometimes become an indirect arena for global conflicts. Another major strategic factor is Kenya's military cooperation with Western powers. One of the most visible examples is the British Army Training Unit Kenya, commonly known as BATUK, located in Laikipia County. This facility serves as a large-scale training ground for soldiers from the British Army. Every year, thousands of British troops rotate through Kenya to conduct live-fire exercises, desert warfare simulations, and counterinsurgency training. The region's vast open landscapes and rugged terrain provide conditions that closely resemble potential operational theaters in Africa and the Middle East, while BATUK is primarily a training facility rather than a combat base. Its presence symbolizes a deep military partnership between Kenya and the United Kingdom, and during major international conflicts, military facilities connected to allied forces can become strategically or symbolically significant locations. Kenya's role in Western security networks extends even further through its cooperation with United States Africa Command, commonly referred to as AFRICOM. AFRICOM oversees U.S. military operations across the African continent, including counterterrorism missions, intelligence sharing, and regional security partnerships. Kenya has long been one of Washington's most important partners in East Africa, particularly in operations targeting extremist groups such as Al-Shabaab in neighboring Somalia. Kenyan forces work closely with American intelligence and logistics systems as part of regional security efforts. This cooperation places Kenya firmly within the Western aligned security framework in Africa. While Kenya is not a formal NATO member, its partnerships with Western militaries effectively integrate the country into a network of strategic cooperation, training, and intelligence sharing. All of these factors, diplomatic presence, military training facilities, and defense partnerships, position Kenya as an important regional partner for Western powers. And in the complex logic of global conflict, such partnerships can sometimes elevate a country's strategic significance. It does not necessarily mean Kenya would become a direct military target, but it does mean the country sits within the broader geopolitical orbit of Western allies. And when global powers confront each other, the ripple effects of that confrontation can travel far beyond the original battlefield. In geopolitics, proximity to a conflict is not always measured in kilometers. Sometimes it is measured in alliances. Iran has showed zero restraint in launching missiles towards their legitimate targets across the West Asia region. That raises the question, what does Iran's missile arsenal and capabilities look like? Over the last 3 decades, Iran has built one of the most formidable ballistic missile programs in the world. Iran's missile arsenal falls into 2 main categories: short-range ballistic missiles and medium-range ballistic missiles, each designed to extend the country's reach further across the region. Short-range missiles, capable of traveling between 300 and 1,000 kilometers, are designed for rapid strikes against nearby military bases, ports, and strategic infrastructure. Among the earliest systems are the Shahab missile family, including the Shahab-1 and Shahab-2, which are liquid-fueled missiles capable of reaching 350 and 750 kilometers respectively. Later developments such as the Qiyam-1 improved targeting precision, but Iran's real breakthrough came with the Fateh 110 missile family, which are solid-fueled weapons that can be launched faster and with greater accuracy. Variants like the Fateh 110, Fateh 313, and Zolfaghar extend Iran's regional strike capability up to 750 kilometers. Iran has even developed specialized anti-ship systems like the Hormuz missile series, designed to threaten naval forces operating in the Persian Gulf. Beyond these regional weapons lies Iran's medium-range missile arsenal, capable of traveling between 1,000 and 3,000 kilometers. At the center of this force is the Shahab-3, which can strike targets up to 2,100 kilometers away. Newer systems such as the Haj Qasem missile, Khaybar Shekan, and Etemad missile further improve range and precision. Longer-range systems such as the Ghadar 110, Sejil missile, Khorramshahr missile, and Emad missile extend Iran's strike capability to nearly 3,000 kilometers. Now, could any of Iran's missiles actually reach East Africa? To answer that question, we first need to understand geography. The distance between Iran and Nairobi is roughly 3,800 to 4,000 kilometers. That distance immediately eliminates all of Iran's missile arsenal. This means they would fall far short of Kenyan territory, but there is an important strategic caveat. Missiles do not always launch from the country that built them. If Iran were to operate missiles from allied territories, naval platforms, or proxy groups closer to Africa, the equation could change dramatically. Could Kenya really defend itself against ballistic missiles? Ballistic missile defense is one of the most technologically demanding military capabilities in the world. Only a handful of nations possess reliable interception systems, including the United States, Israel, and Russia. Systems like Iron Dome, Arrow Missile Defense System, and Patriot Missile System are specifically designed to intercept incoming missiles.
Kenya, however, currently operates conventional air defense systems primarily intended to counter aircraft and drones. This system is definitely unable to intercept high-speed ballistic missiles traveling several times the speed of sound. This means that, in the unlikely event of a ballistic missile strike, Kenya would encounter devastating losses since its own interception capability is inexistent. Despite being the best military in East Africa, Kenya is definitely not prepared for a full-scale war with sophisticated ballistic missiles and bombs.